All right, folks, listen, we cannot let this story die. This is one of those things where it's so big and all of the left just wants to shut up. And on the right, those conservatives like us, we have to keep this story alive because it's massive and it'll play huge in 2026 and 2028. Ilhan Omar continues to make the mainstream media rounds to try and prove that Somalis, a group in America of which more than 42% receive SNAP benefits, food stamps, EBT cards, are the foundation and fuel of this country. Never mind that a large group of them stole $1 billion of taxpayer money that we know of so far. Never mind that part of Minnesota, that Omar represents, is a known breeding ground for domestic terrorists, or that many of them prefer Sharia law. High-ranking politician, undeservedly so, wants you to know that the real victims here are clearly the Somalis themselves.
Why do you think this fraud was allowed to get so widespread?
Well, I want to say, this also has an impact on Somalis because we are also taxpayers in Minnesota. We also could have benefited from the program and the money that was stolen. And so it's been really frustrating for people to not acknowledge the fact that we're also, as Minnesotans, as taxpayers, really upset and angry about the fraud that has occurred.
Hey, lady, you're not the victim, lady. The taxpayers in Minnesota are the victim. Those are the real victims. By the way, one of these clown groups charged the U.S. government $12 million for meals they were giving out during COVID, 18,000 meals they were giving out in COVID. By the way, I can't get to that number. I can't imagine how much each meal cost. But I'll tell you this, they never served a meal during COVID. They said they gave out 18,000 meals, and they charged them $12 million. I'm sorry, not the U.S. government, the state of Minnesota. Democrats, of course, are panicked by what happened in Minnesota. They should be. That's why we got to keep this in the news. Let's not let this one go. This is one that we can use for 2026 to show how sleazy and scummy they are and how horrible they are. And you don't want them with the purse check, writing the checks for the United States, any of them, because Congress does that. Anyway, it's their playbook. Anytime one of their policies fails them, which is always, when it's their policy, they really don't want the crisis to be politicized, as Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison points out. Make sure to point it out. But otherwise, as we know, they never let a crisis go to waste when it serves their agenda.
But let me just say this. We all want to protect the public dollar. We want to prosecute people who engage in fraud. We are up for that. But we can't do it on a partisan basis. We got to do it together. We can't use incidents like this to score a political point. We got to come in as a state and say, you will not steal money intended for poor people and prosecute them. That's how we protect the resources of the state of Minnesota.
Well, that's very interesting, Mr. Keith Ellison being the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota, which puts you as the top lawmaker in the state, which puts you on the hot seat because it happened under your watch. Your call, your fault. You and Tampon Timmy Walls and that lunatic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, all of you should be, I don't know, at least investigated. Find out if there's any further fraud there. Either way, we can't let that story die. The left still doesn't understand that it's their woke nonsense that was the big part of their losing so aggressively in 2024. The ladies of The View still insist on glorifying men invading women's safe spaces. You cannot make this up. Take a look at this.
Every congressperson has a bathroom in their, every congressperson has a bathroom in their office. So she's got a bathroom she can use in her office. And I'm sure she can use your bathroom and the bathroom of every Democrat and every person who's not a bigot in the United States Congress.
We have bathrooms here. In this building, it just says all genders.
Yeah.
Why can't they just do that everywhere?
Yeah, there are all gender bathrooms in many of the Capitol office buildings, not necessarily in the Capitol itself, but we're going to work through that.
Okay, call me crazy, but hey, Ellison and Ellison, fake Obama, what's his name, Hakeem Jeffries, you and the rest of your party, if you got young daughters, you want dudes in your young daughters' bathrooms and locker rooms? Is this what you really want? Is that what you want? Or how about the rest of you whose daughters play sports and maybe they get up at 4 a.m. and go ice skating and become a skater or whatever, or a swimmer, all right? And then some dude comes in who's sucks, and the guy's side decides he wants to identify as a woman and blows away the competition, all women who've worked their hardest, their lives, the money you put into it. They're nuts. They're insane. This is not the way the world works. And I don't even want to know what's going on in Hakeem Jeffries' bathroom. Thank you very much. Clearly, this is a party-wide effort by the Democrats to push for the madness. Here's their communist poster child doing her very best to push for endangering women.
It's disgusting, and everybody, no matter how you feel on this issue, should reject it completely. What are they doing? They're doing this so that Nancy Mace can make a buck and send a text and fundraise off an email. They're not doing this to protect people. They're endangering women. They're endangering girls of all kinds, and everybody should reject it. It's gross. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't even know where to go with that. I have nothing to say about that lunacy, that lunatic, that nut job, the AOC. And clearly she wants to become a bigger presence and maybe even run for president in 2028. Think about that, folks. There's a concerted effort by the left to either misinterpret the intentions of our founding fathers or to slander them all entirely. And you can guess which way Joy Reid decides to go.
So, this nation was founded by killers who slaughtered 90% of the indigenous people, leeches who glommed off of the indigenous who taught them how to survive in the wilderness and then murdered them as their things and then took all their land. And you want to talk about entitlement, they felt entitled to own other people and they didn't even want to pay taxes on it. So they decided to have a whole war with Britain. So
you're free to leave. You're free to leave, Joy. You can go anywhere. Why don't you join Rosie in Ireland? No problem here. But don't worry. We've got the misinterpreting the founding fathers covered too. Ilhan Omar, who hates America and everything we stand for, thinks she understands what they intended, the founding fathers intended for the country.
This is certainly not what the founding fathers of the American dream were thinking about when they said, that when they set out to write the Constitution.
I mean, I don't know what to say. We got AOC, we got Joy Reid, we got this lunatic Ilhan Omar telling us what the founding fathers were thinking. As she wears her little headdress and says that Somalia is her real heart, that's who the people she's really protecting, not the American people she represents in the state of Minnesota. Let's check in with the guy who thinks he could be the next president in the United States, and says you're wondering who that might be. Well, slick Gavin Newsom, making it very clear that his plan is to be the future Stalin and still communism. Put in communism, right? They all love it. They seem to be going that way because Trump a fascist, however.
We have a party that I think needs to design and develop a compelling economic vision for the future where people feel included, to reconcile the fact that if we don't democratize our economy, we're not going to save democracy. And I don't think it's healthy that we have 10% of people that own 2/3 the wealth in this country. I don't think it's sustainable practice. The folks watching Mr. Beast, disproportionately 30-year-olds, the first generation in history not doing better than their parents. There's some underlying issues here that have to be addressed. We have an economy that is broken for too many people.
You know what the greatest thing in democracy? Well, first of all, you vote. Yes, you one person, one vote. You get to vote for your representatives. That's amazing. But also the free market, right? The free market has made the United States of America a relatively young country in the scope of the world. The most powerful, the strongest, the most economic engine, biggest economic engine on the planet because of our free markets. So this whole socialism thing, this whole idea of Gavin Newsom and Mamdani and the rest of them, Bernie Sanders, AOC, pushing away from the free market capitalism into socialism, communism, Stalinism, it's going to ruin the place. You're going to take it down. Get rid of these folks. Get rid of these folks. Here's yet another winning concept by New York City's, speaking of Mamdani, future jihadist communist ruler. Never, ever clear homeless encampments. Don't clear them. Leave them in New York. Great idea, Mamdani.
The tweets that he's done since the start of his administration. Thousands of sweeps have happened since 2024, but no one has been offered permanent housing. And I think the data from May was 114 were offered in shelter. So will you continue those things they were asking you not to?
No, just leave them up there. Just leave them up there. All those rich people, all those millionaires are going to pay for all your stupid ideas. And guess what? They got to step around homeless encampments. That's a really cool place. By the way, if you haven't been to New York in a while, go there. But just don't plan on staying a long time. It's literally a dump. All righty. On another note, a lot of men feel this. Life didn't break them. It slowly softened them. Pressure didn't take them out. Comfort took them out. Let me show you something from a recent Edge episode. If you're a man who wants more strength, more clarity, more drive, you want to find your edge, you're in the right place. The world doesn't always try to break you. Sometimes it tries to soften you, and that is worse. Most men don't crash overnight. We gradually surrender. We coast. We get comfortable. Don't let it happen. Don't let it happen. Don't get soft. Don't get comfortable. That's why I built The Edge, to give men a place to wake the hell back up, to sharpen what's been dulled and take back the discipline, the fire, and the clarity that life has slowly been stealing from us, from you. If that hits you, join us. It's a movement. It's growing like crazy. Search Eric Bolling, The Edge on YouTube and subscribe. New episodes every Thursday. We got shorts going in all during the week. Just hit your QR code there with your camera. It'll subscribe. You press the button, or youtube.com/@Eric Bolling, The Edge. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your subscription. We'll be right back 2.5 minutes.